Another thriving Thursday. It's Thursday again. The weeks go by so fast. I feel like I was just with you yesterday. It was already a week ago. Well, welcome. I'm Carla. I'm a former management consultant turned full time RV nomad, coach, and entrepreneur. And on Thursdays, on Thriving Thursdays specifically, I broadcast from wherever our little home on wheels takes us. We're still in West Texas, enjoying the weather, enjoying being here safe and just staying put for a little bit. Um, Today marks week 2 of the 3 week 2021 roadmap that we started to design last week. I personally get a lot of joy out of planning, out of looking forward to new beginnings, thinking about what's next. And if you're someone that also gets a lot of joy out of that and thinking about how to improve and how to grow, I invite you to join me as I design my own 2021 roadmap. And I invite you to join me and create yours as well. And I'm bringing in a lot of coaching elements and mindsets to help me not do what I've done in other years, which is to create these goals that just sit in lists that gather dust by March and never get accomplished. So, anyway, last week I shared the first step of designing that 2021 roadmap, which was all about defining what you really want in the upcoming year, thinking about it from the perspective of how you want to grow and how you want to feel. And this week, we're moving into step 2, which is all about answering a new question. And that question is, what works for you? And here's what I mean by that. We all have certain inner and outer conditions that we know work well for us in our ability to do our best. At IPEC, which is the coaching school where I became certified, we call these different ingredients influencers. When we're truly engaged in something, say pursuing a particular goal of ours in 2021, we're fully engaged because all of these different influencers or different conditions are working in our favor. So say for example that we are mentally focused and emotionally connected when we're performing a particular task or pursuing a goal. Mental and emotional are two examples of influencers. And conversely, if we're disengaged or feeling anxious or stressed, chances are that one of those influencers are off. So, for example, perhaps the environment around us isn't conducive to helping us achieve our goal. And the environment around us is another example of an influencer. So, why does this matter as we think about our 2021 roadmap? I'll share my story. In past years, when I've thought about the new year ahead, I've gone about it by listing all the things that I want to accomplish. But I've never thought about what the inner and outer conditions need to be in order for me to achieve my goals. So, say, for example, I want to run a 5K. That's a goal that I've had several years for some reason. And I never really spend time thinking about what would support or detract from my ability to train for the 5K and actually do it. I simply would just write down that goal, train for 5K, and that was it. But if we're truly going to commit to a goal and to achieving that goal, we need to know what it is that serves us, that really supports us in pursuing particular goals. And what works for you is going to be different than what works for me, or what works for your partner or your children, right? This is really about your existing formula that has already proven itself to work for you in support of your goals. So here's what I'm going to invite you to do. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a few influencer examples for you to think about. And for each of these influencers, as the second step in building your 2021 roadmap, I want you to reflect and write down when you are at your best in these different areas. And you don't necessarily have to do it exactly at this moment. In fact, it would be even better if you observed over the course of the next few days, maybe take a week, and just think about, when are you at your best, and when you feel your best and you're performing and you're mentally focused, and all these different things that I'm going to tell you some examples of. Write it down. Those are really great moments to learn from on what it is that serves you in terms of when you perform at your best, when you're at your optimal. So what are some examples of influencers and or areas, conditions that you may want to consider? The first one is probably the most obvious one because when it does not work for you, you know, it is very clear, and that is your physical health influencer. Full engagement when your physical health influencer is working for you might look like you feeling really energized and feeling well, you know, physically, not having pain, not having illness. So think about when it comes to your physical health, when are you at your best? What are the conditions that you are setting up for yourself, the conditions around you, within you, that are helping you be at your best physical performance? It might have to do with the food that you eat, it might have to do with how much sleep you get, maybe the type of exercise that you're incorporating into your routine. So, write down what it is that is happening from a physical perspective when you know that you are at your optimal performance and fully engaged with the life around you, again, in terms of your physical health. So that's one influencer example. Another influencer to consider is the mental influencer, which I referenced earlier. Full engagement when your mental influencer is serving you and is working for you might feel like having clarity, being aware of what's happening around you, being able to be fully present, being able to concentrate, being focused on a particular task. When it comes to your mental state, what do you know that already works for you? You know, when you feel clear and aware and present and able to focus, what's happening? Maybe for you it has to do with taking mental breaks throughout the day. Maybe that's something that you already know serves you in terms of your performance. Maybe you're at your best at different times a day, you know, in the morning versus the evening. Maybe the types of tasks that you go about have something to do with how well you show up mentally, how focused you're able to be. So think about this. You know, when it comes to the mental influencer, when do you feel that you're at your optimal performance? What are the conditions within you and around you that are allowing you to have this mental influencer work for you? One more example that I'll give you is the emotional influencer. Full engagement when your emotional influencer is at work serving you might feel like being at peace. It might be having a conscious awareness of how you're feeling and taking time to reflect on why certain emotions are coming up for you. So, when you're at your best emotionally, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are happy and joyful. You know, those are great things, but it doesn't have to necessarily mean that. It may mean instead that you are at choice of the emotions that you're experiencing, right? So, are you choosing how you want to respond based on your emotion? Instead of just reacting, are you responding by choice? So, think about those times when you are at your best from an emotional state. What is happening within you? What different tactics are you using to control your emotions, to become aware of them, and to choose how you want to respond? So those are three examples of different influencers that you might want to consider. Some other areas might be, like I said earlier, the environment, the environmental conditions around you. You know, what surrounds you. How is that serving you or not serving you? Also, the social frameworks around us, you know, the types of groups that we interact with. Do we like to perform, you know, or do we perform our best when we're on our own, when we're in groups? So think about those different types of influencers, those different conditions, and start to identify when is it that you are at your best in these different areas. So I invite you to really do this, to spend some time thinking about this. This is the formula that is going to support you in the coming year. And you may already know all these things, you know, just because you know that you're at your best in this area, in that area. But if you just consciously create a written down formula, it'll help you not just when you're at your best, but most importantly, when you are feeling stressed and feeling ready to throw in the towel on a particular goal that you'd like to pursue in 2021. So that's step 2 of the 2021 roadmap. Again, it's the formula that's going to serve you across these different influencer areas. Think about when are you at your best? When are you at your most optimal? Next week, we'll be focusing on the third step of the 2021 roadmap, which is when we'll dive into the specific goals that you want to achieve in 2021. Happy Thriving Thursday to you all. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.